Hello everyone, my name is JCRP and you're watching Kalaakaar Makerspace videos. In this video, we're going to make this stand for my CPU. This is my new computer in which I'll be editing, and this was totally done with MDF, and it's pretty simple design, but it was really interesting for me to put this together. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how we made this. We begin the project by loading the file inside the CNC machine. Here, after the file is loaded, the machine starts. During this COVID period and because of Trump and many situations, the imports to India stopped from China, and because of that, I was running short of the CNC bits, and that's why here you can see the bit goes at least 3 to 4 steps to finish just an 18 mm. Usually this just happens in 2 steps, but here the machine goes at least 3 steps. So if you know from somewhere I can buy CNC bits in India, please let me know in the comments. That would be really helpful. So here you can see the machine is making the primary holes first and then going and cutting all the other pieces, and for that I'm actually using a 4 mm CNC milling bit. This is a straight bit, and you can see the entire MDF is getting pulverized, which is not the right way of cutting it. When you use a proper single fluid straight bit, I'll show in some other videos that you will get a good fine, not dust but kind of shavings. That's the right way to cut MDF. So there you saw the small piece being cut, and now the bigger pieces are being cut. So to make this shelf we need three different sizes. One is the longest, second longest, and the shortest pieces. So now the longest pieces are being cut, and once the pieces are cut, Avinash is collecting them one after the other and just setting it aside so that we don't lose the count. We need somewhere around 16 to 18 pieces depending upon the width of the shelf that we need. So setting up like this will just help not lose the count. And that's for the cutting. Now to make it interesting we have to stain it, and for that Deva has prepared a spirit stain. The spirit stain is from Asian Paints, and we have mixed walnut dye into it to give a good brownish or a reddish color. The application is very easy. All you have to do is just rub it on a single stroke along the entire piece, and the color completely changes. Of course, before applying this color, I had coated it with a thin coat of sanding sealer just to close all the pores so that a lot of material won't be wasted. This is just the first coat that you're seeing, but to get a good color just like a hard wood, we need to coat it around 4 to 5 times, and depending upon what thickness of the color that you want, you can keep continuing the staining color. Here this is just the first coat, but soon you will see that this is after 8 to 9 coats. Now it looks almost like a real hardwood, but still you can see a little bit of change in color, but that will be fixed when we finally finish it. Now after staining we have to prepare mounting pieces. For that I'm using this 12 mm rod, and 12 mm rod because we're going to put a CPU on top of it and it's going to be very heavy, so 12 mm rod will be perfect for it. It's a threaded rod, but because we're going to mount it inside the wall, we have to make the ends really sharp so that it goes inside the wall easily, and that's what we're doing with an angle grinder over here. So once the rods are ready, here Shiva is putting all the pieces together. So it's very simple. On one end of the threaded rod we have a nut, and once that is set we can start adding all the small and the longer pieces. It's just like putting a puzzle together. So once after the long piece is put, we put the shorter pieces, and then again the same long piece goes in. At the end where the short pieces are there, now we can insert a smaller threaded rod, because there again to connect those two pieces we'll be using a shorter MDF. So this is like a double stage shelf where we have a top shelf on the upper part where the CPU will actually sit, and on the bottom part we can keep your controller or Wi-Fi hotspot, anything like that. This is a top view just to show you how easily the pieces go in. If you have the dimensions right and the threaded rod of the proper diameter, then everything goes very smoothly. Just thinking about it right now, I feel that 18 mm was too thick for the shelf. Probably 8 mm or a 12 mm would be more than enough. Now it looks really, really bulky for my taste, but now that I have already cut it, I just have to live with it. I don't want to make another shelf. So, but if you're doing this, then I think a 12 mm MDF board will be really, really good. So once after all the pieces are put together, we can put a nut on the other side. Here you can see we still haven't finished it, but just by tightening the nut, we are able to really secure the shelf together. It's come along really, really well. And you can see Shiva picks it up and none of the MDF boards are actually shaking or wiggling. That's only because we use threaded rods and the nuts. Now we can completely finish the MDF pieces. For that we are using melamine matte. I really love matte color. Now melamine is a PU based finish, so we have to add hardener, and then to lighten it up we are going to use some NC thinner, and we can apply the coats very easily using our spray gun. Because the shelf is going to be used at my home and it's going to get cleaned very often, I don't want the color to fade away very soon. So we coated the shelf with at least 4 to 5 layers of melamine, and that gives enough protection for many years to come. The shelf was coated from the inside and outside and all the angles, and once it is ready, it is time to mount it. Here Shiva is using a really huge drill machine, and I told him that it will punch through the hole, and it just did, and we were just laughing through it because now that we have the shelf ready and the holes in the wall, we can't do anything but just mount the shelf. I'll do the patch up work later, but just to know that these days at apartments the walls are really, really thin and the material that they use are very pathetic, that even with a small drill it just puts a hole through the wall. We're just smashing the piece inside the wall. I don't know how we're going to take it back when I move out of this house. Because the CPU is the jewel of my computer, I wanted to put above the monitors, because once you come into the room, this is the CPU that you're going to see with all its glory. I know I have put a lot of messages over here. Just ignore that. That's something that I put in 2018 and it's still there. Something to remind myself. If you ask me if I have achieved all my goal, no, not even 2, 3 of them. But still, it's there because I really want to put the effort. And similarly, I want to upload my videos, and that's why that's also there. Now, coming to the project, I hope you enjoyed it and you loved the project. It was a simple build. If you just have a jigsaw or a table saw, a circular saw, you can cut these small strips and then put some holes, and you will be able to make a design like this. You can actually scale this up and make a huge bench also on which you can sit. And if you see here, I have changed the normal nuts to the stud nuts. These are a little bit costlier. Each cost me around 60 to 70 rupees, but it gives a good look. And here I have set my controller. Now I can put my Wi-Fi router and other things over here. I hope you found this project to be interesting, and thank you for sticking around for the entire video. Please do follow me on Instagram to see what I'm working on right now. I regularly upload things over there. Once again, thank you for watching. Until next time, happy learning.